Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Thick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. I'm Spencer Israel. As always, joined by Joel Elconin and Dennis Thick. On this show today, a lot of ratings to discuss. Going to talk a little bit about Boeing. They had a big dividend. URBN had some comps. We're going to talk retail, Trip, Veritone. Maybe we'll discuss Bitcoin's first full day of futures. And our guest today is Nick Chahine. Joins us every Tuesday at 8:35. He is the author of Create Income with Option Spreads on MarketFi. Joel, how are we doing this morning in the markets?
S&P futures are trading in the green by 2.5. Got only a buck below the close of 64.50. Your pre-market low 63.50. That's the key to any downside today. Crude trading up 50 cents. I think there's a leak in a pipeline somewhere, so a little bit of concern over supply. Looking at the daily chart at front month contract, we do have a high at 59.05. Actually, three highs at the $59 area. We will be keeping an eye on. Gold continues lower as everyone sells their gold to buy Bitcoin. Gold down $1.60 at 1245.20. Silver under $16 at 1680. Or excuse me, 1580. And of course, we got to find the price for Bitcoin here, which has been real quiet over the last few days. And it is currently trading at $16,815.60. Let's take a look at the futures contract as well. Only traded 15,000 contracts yesterday. So you can figure out the notional value of that. Not a whole lot. Quiet session today so far, though, in Bitcoin. For now, it looks like the futures are taming the cash index. Dennis, how you doing on this cold and snowy Tuesday morning in the Motor City?
Winter came. Winter came here yesterday to the Motor City. It's early this year, isn't it? I don't remember this much snow in June.
June?
In June. In December? Losing track of months here. We didn't
get any snow in June. I had to shovel when I got home last night, and then I got up early this morning after the plow guys came. I had to do some more shoveling this morning. I don't think I did that much all of last year.
No snowblower?
No snowblower. We get the truck guys that come through and plow everything, but somehow they seem to miss some stuff on my driveway. Got to do the sidewalk for the dog too. So busy morning, but markets are quiet. SPOs are up again. Just won't go down, Dennis. This is a market just refuses to go down. They try and break it a couple times during the day. Here we are, just trading up at an all-time high. I don't know if there's any offers anywhere. Just give us your take here on the overall market.
They're impossible. Like, remember, I tried to play the TVIX 5 days ago. They were thinking maybe, the techs are starting to look weak. Maybe we're going to pop. I'm so glad that I put risk parameters on that because I bought that TVIX up at 760. And I ended up selling it out at 730. And it was a good sale. It's 610 now. And it just goes to show you these products are real tough to trade and tough to call because they deteriorate so much faster than the overall VIX as well because obviously they're levered. But not only that, they just have a natural deterioration in them as well. So never get married to any of those. But it's so hard to make a bet on the short side, And I was just saying, I never play the TVIX on it. I just had a feeling, that maybe we're going to get some follow through selling in the tech stocks, and it never occurred. And that's what you got to do. You've got to have the discipline to get out of the trade when you're wrong. Admit when you're wrong as quickly as you possibly can. How do you know when you're wrong? Trade starts moving against you. You start losing money. That's when you know you're wrong. So that's, obviously you got to give it a little bit of room there. But for the most part, you got to have parameters set before you ever enter a trade. Never think about how much money you can make on a trade. Always think about how much money you can lose. Set those parameters before you get into the trade, and you'll last a lot longer in this business.
And when you bought an ETF on the bear side, I almost fell off my chair. I thought that was a pretty good call.
Well, one of the triple levers with the VIX. It was a bold call, and it goes to show you I was going right against, what I say is never buy those things, ever. And there's other ways to play it. The better way to play it is to short the stocks, I would say as well. But I don't know. I just saw volatility was starting to show. The VIX was starting to show a little bit of life there. It had popped up on that day, and I don't have the chart of the VIX in front of me, but I think we were getting up towards 11, and it felt like we wanted to have a little spike in volatility there. It never occurred. Then it came in the next morning, and the stocks were doing nothing. I wanted to get the follow through. So as soon as they were doing nothing the next morning, and they did nothing for the first hour of trade, I was like, and they actually started to grind higher. I was out. I was out of that trade, and it was a good out. And obviously, I'd be down a lot of money if I kept on to it.
All right, let's move on to some stocks that are moving this morning.
There's all kinds of stocks moving here this morning. We'll go to the Bitcoin stocks because these Riot and Mara, Overstock, those things have been absolute monsters here. I don't know why they decided to take off again, but Riot, they're having a riot in it. This is going up there to challenge its all-time high here. Actually, it's trading above. It's traded at a high, but on the pre-market that one day, it got up to over $29. So here's a stock that, it's got blockchain in the name. Everybody got really excited. It got overdone, but then it pulled all the way back to almost where it came from there, gave you another chance. Then it kind of formed a little pent last few days. Yesterday, blast off into orbit. Same story, really. Riot's a little more volatile version of Overstock.com OSTK, but that's what trading off the Bitcoin play as well. It's up big time, too. I heard there's as much as 40% short interest in this one as well. So these things are just popping here, maybe because they think Bitcoin's, going to go again. Maybe they like the fact the futures are coming, or the futures are here now, but I don't know. Bitcoin's not even really going up, and these things are going up. So I think there's a little bit of a short squeeze piled in with just people on the hope trade.
I don't know what you can make out of this news. Riot Blockchain reported at 8:32 yesterday morning, TestPay unit signed letter of intent for merger with publicly traded Crisval Capital Corp. So
I have no idea. I didn't even know about that. So
so that's what caught it. 25.70. That's your high print here, trading right near the highs of the session. Base the daily charts only got up to $24 last time. Now you're trading above that. So once again, you see what that high is in the pre-market after hours trading. Use that as a parameter. Above that, continued upside. On the downside, base is the 15-minute chart. You have to find a better technician than me to find support. I guess a couple lows here under $24, $23.80 would be a point where I'd say, okay, maybe there's some downside here.
What about the Overstock OSTK? Because it was up $11 yesterday. The 2-day move says to buy it on the close. The 2-day move would be working here this morning. That's my own little 2-day move, where when you have a stock that has a huge move, which is out of the norm for the last little bit, and was a breakout, that you get the follow through the next day as a Johnny come latelys come in the next morning to buy it. You'd be up 4 points if you bought the close yesterday on OSTK, so it would have worked. What are your thoughts here technically on this one? Because this is a big move as well.
Yeah, 42.50 low 3 days ago. Now popping up here. High of the move was 65.70. I don't think we're quite there yet. Let's look at the pre-market trading. High of 59.35, but hanging only a dime off that high. So let's go to the daily charts and see if we can find some daily highs. I think you've already taken out the 50% retracement. $60 if I had to pick a level here. Two highs, one at 49.60 and 60.50. So split that 60 even. Above that, you have blow off to that 65.70 high. So nice whole number. 18 points, 20 points. If you bought it in a 40 handle, we'll see if anybody rings the register at $60.
Mara is the other one, M-A-R-A. It is not having the follow through the other ones did. It got hit hard last night after hours. It's come back from those lows there. I'm not sure if they have individual news or not, because this one here is not trading up as nearly as much as the other ones. It's down actually 5% in the pre-market. So 2-day move not working on this one right now. Huge volume, 493,000 shares. Had a big pop yesterday. Pulling back here this morning, M-A-R-A.
Let's see if the sellers line up again at yesterday's high of 6.35. We're only 30 cents away from that. You had a close right at that area too at 6:30. Big volume day too, 17,000 or 17,100,000 compared to 2 million the previous day. Above that 635, I mean, pick your poison, because you had that day where it came down hard from 1003 and closed at 651. So 651, I believe, is the recent high of the move. So that's another level coinciding with that 635 high from yesterday.
Props to the chat, Chili Trader. And yes, I just saw this in the pro as well. Mara's down because they had an offering. So they're using their price, to obviously raise a little bit of cash here as well. So impressive move actually for Mara to only be down 25 cents considering that they got an offering coming out there. So that's the reason that Mara is not following suit with the other ones. When you have fundamental news, that always trumps any technicals. Jump out of this Bitcoin trade here for a minute, and let's move over to the big mover of the day, Boeing flying. They announced huge increase to their dividend, an $18 billion stock buyback. Stock is up at all-time highs here again, 289.88. This has just been an impressive move. It's got to be considered one of the stocks of the year for 2017. It started in this big Dow stock, $155. It almost doubled here in 2017, where everybody had it for dead in the middle of 2016 when it got down to $100. This thing has been back with a vengeance here. Boeing on fire.
Went off the board at 287.32 yesterday. Or no, that's a monthly chart. Go to the daily chart on Boeing. Nice move. Yeah, closed at 287.32, or that was the high. I'm sorry, from 2 days ago. Trading up in the pre-market. I don't know. Is there any offers out there, Dennis? Because 289.88.
Gotta think 290.
289. No, I don't know. 300. That's almost,
300. That's 10 points higher. I'm going to look at the book. Nothing. I don't see
the
much
only
in the
thing,
book at all. A little bit of 290. There's 3,500 shares. Not much in the book. That's an empty book.
The only thing I would say on this is, if you're going back from a little past history, remember Bank of America announced that buyback, right? And they got a little bit of pop. I don't know if this is a bigger buyback or not, but keep an eye, pre-market high, see if it stopped, find any sellers there. Up nearly $7. So big move here for Boeing. And I think the last time, I think it was a Trump tweet. It was back in, I think, early December last year. Let me go to the, when we take the 140 here, it was December last year, and it was like Air Force One, cancel it. Remember that?
Yeah.
The
stock went down to the 140.
He has not been tweeting about the stock market lately.
They shut him down.
Yeah.
A lot of that individual stock news, because every time he tweets something, the stock would fall 3 or 4%, and then it pop. It was like, I had to watch your Twitter account half the time when you were trading stocks because something starts moving. You don't know what's going on. Oh, Trump tweeted about it. But you're right. We have not seen any individual stock Trump tweets in a long time. And if they do happen, they don't move the market like they were moving it back then either. So people just, if he does mention a company, sometimes it seems to be a little more ignored than it was a year ago, where, when they tweet about that Boeing and it fell $7 because they were, he was saying cancel the thing. And obviously they probably didn't. It's just him, just tweeting a little bit too quickly there. But anyways, Trump's a whole different story. We don't want to get into that.
Trump, Bitcoin, what a year, 2017.
Oh, it has been. Okay, so Technical Tuesday here a little bit, and I just want to talk a few stocks. We're going to have Nick Chahine on 8:35. He'll stock in the options, and he's always great with the technicals there. But I was looking at a few charts here too, just setting up. And first, I want to go to that Veritone chart, VERI. Man, I tell you, this $20 level, or call it 20.5, has been the rock of Gibraltar. Just support, huge support there. It's come down there 1, 2, 3, 4 times, bounced off there every time, started bouncing again yesterday. It always seems to come back, so you can call it a magnet trade, call it whatever you want, but that 20.5 has a hell of a lot of significance.
And if you were waiting for a pullback off that run from $8 to 74.92, I mean, here you are, getting a nice discount on the price. Nice thing about this one, if you're trying here for a swing trade and maybe trying to make 5, 6, 7, 8 points, you're picking it up 22.5, 23 area, you're out here, under 20, maybe we get a little room in case they hit it to 20, jam some stops down there. Maybe 18. And then if you could finally clear $30, it looks like you got some open room here. But, it's been
in a channel here, 20 to 30. I'll give you that.
Yep. And I'm just curious about, earnings, which, should have somewhat of.
When does it have earnings?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out here.
Maybe Spencer can hunt that down in the background, because that is obviously
February 17th.
When is it?
Not till February.
We haven't heard from this for a while, really?
Yeah,
we heard. I guess we did hear from Veritone.
They had earnings. They had earnings November 6th.
Oh, I didn't even remember that one. So didn't do very much on it. I guess. Oh yeah, maybe it had that little fall in the charts. I mean, it's such a volatile chart, it's hard to even see it in there. But I guess that's when it went from 35 down to $30. So I don't know. I like the round and bottom here still. I think, if you're trying to, call a bottom on it, I mean, if it starts cutting through 20, that's your out. So as long as, you can put on any trade, as long as you know where your out is. Risk very well defined in this because support is very well defined. So I don't mind people trading them from down here as long as they know where they're cutting out, and that's below 20. Comcast, Fox. Oh, yeah, we're going to do Technical Tuesday first, then we're going to go to that. So other charts I was looking at was, check out this TripAdvisor chart, TRIP. You like your little patterns. You like your cup and handles here. Look at this TRIP. I mean, this is a really pretty cup and handle. I don't know how you get it more perfect. You got that cup when you fell down to $30. Then you had the 2-day run. You've been consolidating that move. If this stock can get its head above $36, could be off to the races, filling another gap. There's a lot of fun things in this chart, Joel.
Yeah, got knocked down on earnings. Did recover. Multiple high. I mean, not only is the resistance well defined, Dennis, the highest level
there too.
Yeah. The high of the bounce has been 35.67. You hit 35.55 yesterday. Got a gap fill up to 38.57. If in fact you can clear that. And then on the downside, you see a print in the 33 handle. Look at these lows here. Am I looking at daily or look at this? Going back to November 27th, all of your lows have been between 33.95 and 34.44. So a 50-cent range, call that super extra major support at 34.25. So it's building up here. Going to need a little bit of a catalyst. I mean, on a monthly chart, though, you're going to be fighting a lot of people on this stock because this stock has really come down off its all-time high. And if you want to get a little more technical, Dennis, on a monthly chart, maybe draw a little trend line here, coming down off all these tops. So a lot of things, but keeping an eye on getting in the 36 handle in TripAdvisor.
Also looking at Twitter here, a lot of life yesterday. This sets well up for the 2-day move as well. So 2-day move would say, hey, 2205 seems to have a little weakness here today. Maybe try to buy that little bit of pullback we got here and look for that thing to challenge the high of the move, which is up at 2248. I think it could challenge it today. So I kind of like Twitter here. 10,000 shares just stepped up there at 2205 to bid as well in the pre-market there.
That's
little pullback.
Bid.
Tech's a little bit weak here this morning. But I don't know. Twitter showed a lot of strength yesterday. The tech chart wasn't great yesterday, and Twitter was showing a lot of relative strength. So I like Twitter here. I think, it's got room to move here again.
Why not Technical Monday? Because you had a triple top in Twitter at the 2150 area. 2140, 2145, 2140. Those were three highs in a row. Opened at the dead low, which was also its closing price at 2110, and then off to the races. But Dennis, I liked what you said during the pre-market show about Twitter. What did you call it?
Oh, I was saying this is a Bitcoin stock. It's moving along with the Bitcoins. Why? Because on my Twitter feed is all it talks about is Bitcoin. So I'm calling it a Bitcoin stock right now. Getting a lot of life following around. Maybe it's going to start following these riots and all these other, maras. I don't know. That's a little bit of a joke. But at the same time, I tell you, Twitter, all I see on Twitter is Bitcoin in my Twitter feed.
Just keep an eye, 2248. That was the recent high of the move after earnings.
Jump over here to, which we were just going to say was Comcast and Disney. Spencer, we had some news here overnight. What Comcast have to say about Fox?
Yep, Comcast. 3 weeks ago, remember, it was reported that Comcast was among the suitors for some 21st Century Fox assets. That appears to no longer be the case. Comcast saying now that they are no longer engaged in a review for some 21st Century Fox assets. That was reported by CNBC yesterday.
And that stock, Comcast, is getting a lift on it. So I guess they were scared that Comcast might overpay, and those fears are now not there, obviously, with Comcast saying that they are out. What's going on in NVIDIA? I just want to pause for a second here.
You got any news on NVIDIA?
Something just happened. NVIDIA just tanked. $3. It was trading at 194 when we started the show. It's now 191. Something just happened right now. So Chad can help us out here too.
Chad,
Ace, thanks for the notification there too. I saw the same thing. My AMD is starting to go down here too. Somebody said something about NVIDIA.
Yeah, about chip.
I'm looking for something too.
I know. I'm not seeing anything either. Ace, if you see what the news is too, I'm just digging here right now. It's always hard when you're on a live radio show to dig at the same time. Yeah, the Brentster there. He'll find it in the background. Somebody said something on CNBC.
We're scrambling here. We even got Lizzie looking for the news on that one.
Matt said somebody just said something on CNBC. That could be the case, but we know CNBC
betting
can move
against
it.
AI, this Golden State Warriors. I don't think that guy can move any stocks. But let's just take a quick look on a daily chart of NVIDIA. Look how I probably will not say that wrong. For all of 2018.
You got to figure it out now.
Yeah, it had a couple days of consolidation, actually matching ranges over the last two sessions. Just a quick take on this, 191.15 at your 2-day low. You just had a spike down to that area, so looking for more downside. And if you take out 190.12, that's your 3-day low. Katie barred the door. You're going to 185 here, but on the rebound here, let's see what happens. Of course,
AMD's coming back up a bit here now. It just tanked down 10 cents, and that's not a huge move. But the NVIDIA one I did notice because it was like boom, boom, boom. It's like 194. We started the show, and boom, we saw 191. Coming back here now, maybe somebody said something to make people nervous, but wow, that was a big down move there in NVIDIA for a second there.
What about AMD here? Clinging to the $10 level, got a double.
It's in range.
Yeah,
you know what? It's just kind of the last 3 days. Look at those ranges from the last 3 days, and I've been playing a little bit short and long, and actually, I guess I'm playing it short here now because I just got short. Never trade live on the radio. I shouldn't be doing that right now, but when it tanked down there, I was like, I'll throw out a short up there. 10, 17,
can you do your overall P&L for when you're trading on the show? Do you think you can query that? You know, like
what do you want me? Oh, it's down. It's got to be red. You can't do a radio show and concentrate on trading at the same time. I should never trade and do a live radio show. Yet I continue to do it. I can't help myself, and I was like, I'll just throw out an order there and see what happens. So I just shorted some AMD there, but we'll see. I don't know if I'm just looking. You know, you're up here at resistance here too. So 1019. Here's the highest from the last 3 days. 1019, 1020, and 1016. So now we're right in that same area again. I don't know. I'm just playing it that way. And I'm not. So a little bit technical Tuesday, a little bit while I just watched it fall big time and bounce all the way back. Sometimes, you know, they give you a second chance. That's why I just put it short. Right.
What was that one stock you shorted on the show? Janus Fund?
That was during Gross, when Gross moved over to from PIMCO to Janus.
What's the symbol on that? JNS?
Is it still there? Oh, what is the symbol on Janus Partners? It was when you went over there.
I got it. It's JNS. No, that
you got no.
Is that it? Janus.
Anyways, I shorted live on the show and it just kept going up and up and up, and I was like, "This isn't good." That's when I think I made the rule: never trade stocks and do a live radio show.
And you're really following your rules today.
Oh yeah, I had to.
And you bought it.
We'll see.
And you bought.
Hey, I'm up 2 cents.
And you bought an ETF a couple of weeks ago, Dennis. You are following.
No, the TV. Well, ETFs are fine. It's those leveraged VIX products that are a little bit scary, at least for me.
Okay, sorry, we got off on a little tangent there with the AMD and
Comcast is where we were at.
Comcast. Okay,
go back to Comcast. That's what we were talking about. CMCSA is getting a lift here. Spencer, details.
I already gave him.
You already gave him.
Give him again. We got
Comcast is no longer engaged in talks for some 21st century Fox assets.
All right, so Comcast trading up 1.7% because they are out. So the market is happy that they are out, not overpaying for Fox. So now we'll leave Disney to overpay for Fox. And Disney, for some reason, getting a pop on it too. I guess everybody's excited, but maybe they think Comcast is bidding against them, so they're going to get a little bit cheaper. But I don't know. This Fox has been running up. I don't think there's a huge bid coming. I think they're going to get a price. I don't think it's going to be much higher than it's trading at now. And hopefully it's for the whole company and not just for assets, because they leave them with all that debt. That's not good. So we'll see what happens. But this Fox has a lot of good news already priced in. That's all I'm going to say.
And I mean, wouldn't you rather, I mean, in this digital age with everything that's going on with, you know, the unknown landscape, would you want to be a buyer now? Or you know, I mean, I know some of these stocks, I mean, looking at the charts, but kind of think you'd be a little bit more of a seller, right? Trying to figure out where we're going in, like I said, this digital age. Comcast is
all
getting
these, you know, like Viacom, all these things. I think the rally is a little bit of a gift. I mean, we went from 22 to 30 on Viacom. They haven't even talked about that, but that's just been, you know, the value trade. The value trade came back into play. a month ago, and anything with a low multiple and even lower growth doesn't matter. Those are the stocks they've been buying in the last month. So, Fox benefiting from that as well. But at the same time, Fox, it's all about the Disney bid. So it all depends on what that comes in as, the details about that. But when you see a stock go from $24 to $34 on all this news, you start to think a lot of that good news is priced in. So I just get worried this could be one of those like buy on rumors, sell on news type of events. So if the price isn't as good as what the market wants, don't be surprised if Fox is not trading higher when you get the official news.
All right, 39.11. Someone seems to have a little bit of an opinion here, a little bit of a seller at 39.15. That's been the high over the last hour. Kind of in a no zone area as you don't have a high to lean on until 39.84, but that's basis the daily charts. But if you look at 0.67 up for Comcast, I don't even know on a daily range. That's about its daily range. So keep an eye on that pre-market high of 39.15. I think I'd be more inclined to try and buy it if it pulls back to that triple top area at 38.50 with the close right there at 8.44.
Yeah, I don't want to chase it either. If it gets crazy, you got to think $40 is a big psychological level as well. So that's a long ways up from here right now. But sometimes these things can get crazy, so you always got to be prepared. Gets up near that area, I think I'd play it from the short side. Jump over here, all kinds of ratings land. We're not going to go there. We're going to get there in a minute. But Urban Outfitters, URBN, came out with comps last night. Stock just kind of hanging out here. They can't decide whether they like it or not. I mean, Urban has been running too. All these retailers have come storming back. The stock in August was $16. It's now 32. So you're talking about a stock that has doubled in the last couple of months. And I will tell you, when I look at that Urban Outfitters monthly chart and I see a stock that, everybody had for dead at 16 and came all the way back to 32, I think the 16 to 32 rally is a gift because I still think a lot of these companies are not in that great of shape. And a lot of these, retail rally as of late, the big retail rally, especially in a stock that's doubled in the last 3-4 months, I'd be ringing the register.
You got to clear out this seller here in the 30.
What are the comps, Spencer?
Go ahead,
just
Spencer.
Before Joel gives.
Actually, I don't have him in front of me, so let me track him down real fast.
Okay, give some technicals, and Spencer track that down.
All right, 4 highs in a narrow range from 33.10 to 33.33. That was the high of the move yesterday. Backed off the close at 32.27. So when you see this kind of setup here, potential breakout, but it's going to take some good news here to get it back over 33, close above 33. Coming back on the downside if you're trying to lock in some profits. 3 lows at the 32.20 area. So really it's been range bound for the last 4 sessions between 32.14 and 33.33. Actually hit both those levels yesterday. So just waiting for the consolidation to resolve itself in Urban Outfitters.
Comps for fourth quarter comp sales mid-single digit positive so far, whatever the hell that means. So anyways, mid-single digits, I guess they're looking at the comps, which, it's not fantastic. I mean, it's good enough. It's been for this market, but now you're getting to a point where these things are starting to get inflated again. And that's why I think, these comps were, they reported this when the stock was 20 and stock be popping, but now it's 32. It's run so much. Now they're almost expectations are starting to go higher. I look at all those tops, like you said, around $33, Joel. Resistance is starting to form here.
All right, and that 33 area also came into play last December before this thing really took a haircut. It had a high at 33.25 1 year ago tomorrow. So there's a yearly high, 52-week high in Urban Outfitters. And when it was traded at 16.19, boy, people probably never thought it'd be back in the 32 handle.
Jump over here to some of these ratings, then, and there's a lot of ratings this morning. I don't know where you want to go, Spencer. We had a lot of calls from J.P. Morgan, from Goldman, Stifel. Namira is upgrading Verizon. I mean, there is just a lot of different stocks here in ratings. Anything that really jumping out you want to go to first?
Oh, wow. JP Morgan downgraded like every stock ever. It looks like
I know. Go through a few of the JP Morgan downgrades.
No.
JP Morgan getting a little bearish.
I can't go through all of them because there's like 30 that they
Okay,
downgraded.
Go through the main ones.
Oh man, you're okay.
I know Adobe. I saw Adobe. That's a big one.
Adobe, let me go through real quickly. Web, no, that's not that big. Raytheon catches a downgrade from JP Morgan. Barracuda downgraded. Checkpoint downgraded. Fortinet, FTNT downgraded. Adobe, you said. Imperva, IMPV. GD, those were all downgraded by JP Morgan today.
GoDaddy downgraded. Service, or NOW, which is ServiceNow, got downgraded as well. A lot of downgrades from JP Morgan here. Let's go to Adobe first, because here's a stock that has been wild as of late. It obviously had the huge run up, got crushed in that little bit of a tech wreck from a couple weeks ago, has come back. Now you look at it now, and it's kind of getting a little hidden. Just kind of, you think about the 50% retracement of the move. So if we do the quick air math on that, at 186, and went down to 166, call that $20. We got up a couple of days ago to like 177, and it's basically hanging out the 50% retracement of the move. And if you're playing that from a technical perspective, it tells you maybe the next move could be down. And you get JP Morgan downgrading the stock today. That's not helping the cause.
I have to agree. I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth on that one. Just about a 50% retracement. Exceeded it that one day when it went to 177.20. Previous day's high, 175.90. So targeting that 176 area. Coming back on the downside, we are trading down $1.31. So you are taking out the double bottom from yesterday. That is concerning. So if we don't get back above 173.20, got a buck down to 117.13, and then Katie bar the door. A double bottom at 165.68 and 65.75. Now, when you come back down again the second time, I think you find some intermediate buyers, maybe feel like they missed, they missed the bottom there. But you also are sitting on the top of a huge gap that might have been from earnings. So this one technically looks like a couple good setups here in Adobe.
Seth Seifman at JP Morgan with the note this morning downgrading General Dynamics, Raytheon, and TDG, but he's upgrading Northrop Grumman. NOC. So that's the one, that's his favorite in the sector. GD, RTN, and TDG all downgraded. NOC catching an upgrade this morning.
So I don't know where you want to go there. NOC, if we just go to the upgraded one, it is bid up this one at 306.01. Just trade a couple odd lots at 306.44. So it would put it up a couple bucks. I guess you start thinking about the highs there, which is around 310. I'll go look at the book. Joel, quick thoughts. I don't see.
Boy, oh boy. Brave call here as the stock is near all-time highs. Taking out the high. I don't know. We haven't even taken out yesterday's highs. So see what happens here at 307.17. That's yesterday's high. Another high here in the 307 handle at 307.83. So there could be a potential area of selling. And then your all-time high. That was made on November 30th at 309.76. We got a minute here before we bring Nick Chahine on. And what's going on with imbalances, Dennis? S&Ps are not really budging here.
No, they're small here today, too. I'm not even seeing anything really jump out at me. Twitter, 48,000 to sell. Again, a kind of bullish Twitter here today, so I might be looking at possibly buying into that. Wells Fargo, 65,000 to sell, but banks are stronger here today. Remember, the FOMC does meet tomorrow, expected to raise interest rates there. So I think you could see a bank trade here, maybe get a little bit of life ahead of it today. It looks like in the pre-market, banks are looking relatively strong. I mean, the S&Ps are kind of sitting there. Seeing tech a little bit heavy overall, so I think that money might actually roll into the banks. So keep an eye there. Also, Bristol Myers, 25,000 to sell. Merck, 16,000 to buy. Merck was getting some love on CNBC last night, I believe, from Kramer there, and that's why Merck is popping up. Square, 33,000 to buy. Actually, no, Merck was on fast money. Square, 33,000 to buy. It's just hanging out here in the pre-market as well. Boeing, 20,000 to buy. We know it's trading up on its big buyback this morning. General Electric, 58,000 to buy. They're all pretty small, though. Relatively speaking, the imbalances aren't really moving the market this morning.
All right, 8:35. We are going to catch Nick Chahine on the fly here. Create income with option spreads. Nick joins our show.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. How you doing? What part of California are you in?
Southern.
Uh-oh. How you doing down there?
We're doing good. We can smell them, but we can't see them, the fires. So, so far, so good. I'm over a canyon, which hasn't seen any action so far. I think the setup is okay here. We're close enough to the beach that we get somewhat damper weather.
All right. That's good to hear, Nick. Those things are not even 15, 20% contained yet.
It's pretty crazy. The wind has been insane and it's been very, very dry.
Yeah, I know. I was out there just a week before or actually 48 hours before that happened, and unbelievable. But Nick, let's move on to the markets here. Here we are trading a couple ticks from old time highs, and I know you've saying just don't short this market. You haven't said, don't take profits yet or anything. Taking a real cautious approach in this just real steady, methodical rally. Give us any technical points or any technical targets you have for the S&P 500.
Well, before we start with the technicals, you and I have had this conversation before where the dips have been bought, right? So every big dip we've had, and I put big in relative terms there because we haven't seen big dips. So a 1 point dip or a malaise or feeling like it's falling off the wheels are falling off, then it should be like if the stupid trade is to buy the dip, just buy it. So that has worked. And the way I've bought it and I've noted it is by selling credit put spreads. So I'm taking advantage of those small dips. Also, there are some other trades that you can do within the market. So if you see a dip in Apple and you know that it eventually is going to recover, noted taking some credit put spreads there. So that's how I can buy the rally, is by selling risk. So I have more faith in the support than in the upside targets. So the easier way to profit is where you don't even need a rally to profit. So if you feel solid about something enough to buy it, I feel better about selling risk against much lower prices where you feel solid about. And that's my strategy. As far as what to buy, I mean, you have to pick. It seems like rotation is a term that everybody uses now, which basically to me is the byproduct of the bulls are still in control. They don't want to get out of the market. So if they feel bad about one thing, they find something else to buy. So they sell one thing to buy another. And if they don't like the small caps for a while, then you bet on the other guys, or you sell some credit put spreads in the small cap knowing they're going to rotate out of it. And that's what we did. I sold credit put spreads in Apple because everybody was selling the mega tech going into financials and retail, and that helps the small caps. So I left my shorts in the small caps and went after some bullish positions there. So you have to pick and choose the memes and go anticipate the next meme.
All right. And let's just talk about Apple here. Someone asked about it in the chat, and I noticed, or maybe it was the Brentster, and I noticed all that support just under 170 here at 169, but that's kind of gone now. Let's talk about the upside here and what you're looking at for the next big move in Apple.
Sure. I'm going to share a chart that shows the importance of the candles it's in now. I'm just going to put a whole bunch of arrows on them. And this candle here is important, it's still developing here. And the good thing about Apple is, the fundamentals are there and you know that the market loves it. So eventually it will find support, even if your thesis is wrong for a little bit. So technically it has a chance for a breakout. I wouldn't be surprised if it breaks 180. How quickly it can get there, I don't know, but it does need the market to continue on meandering higher. But it's not, even though it's edging above a lower high trend line currently, this candle where it's at now is pretty important. So 174 would make me feel much better about it. But look to the left on the chart and you'll see that it hasn't been easy once it gets there. So depends on how you want to play Apple. I'm still long it via a lot of credit put spreads and very small credit call spreads at 177.5, which I can peel off right away. They are profitable now, but I'm ready to take them off, and I'm still biased long in it.
Nick, a stock we haven't talked about on the show in a while is Tesla, and it has been showing a lot of life in the last 4 days. It got down multiple times to 300. It just seemed to not want to go through it. Reversed there last week off the 300, and it has been off to the races since. We are up here again this morning, trading up another $2. We're up here at 330 now. Have we missed the boat here on Tesla? What are your thoughts on TSLA from a technical perspective?
The love for Tesla is more of an Elon trade. So as long as Elon is in that stock, I don't short it too tightly. I've given up on shorting it outright by selling calls in it. I did sell some puts and put spreads in it. So at 300-ish, I drew a big solid box with big solid white lines saying that this is a neckline. And as long as nothing new comes out of it, they will buy the neckline, meaning the bulls and the bears will fight hard for it. And the bulls have edged the bears for a long time. So unless the rhetoric changes in regards to Tesla and Elon and how successful he is, just this morning they were talking about him on CNBC saying how he's the most important innovator of our time. It's debatable, but if at least people that are on CNBC that are highly regarded are saying that, then you can't fight that. So if you like Tesla and it falls to 300 and you don't buy into it, then you really don't really like it. You're just hoping for the best. In other words, I don't short it. And from here, technically, it looks like it can recover. I know it's up a lot this morning, is it not? And if so...
It's up a couple bucks on an order from Pepsi, I think.
Is it? It's not because they're getting more debt from the government or something like that. So
who knows? It's up because everybody loves it.
Yeah.
They find a reason.
My only concern for Tesla is it's so tied to Elon. It's an Elon trade, more so than Jobs to Apple or anybody else, maybe even Bezos to Amazon. I'm not sure about that one, but he's very important. And, he wears a tinfoil hat every once in a while. So that worries me a little bit. So, from a stock perspective, I don't short it. If I liked it, I could have sold credit put spreads there, but frankly, I was long enough stuff, so I didn't do it.
What about Twitter here? I was just talking about it about 5 minutes ago, saying I liked it on the pullback at 22.03 this morning. It just popped to 22.21, so it didn't give me a chance to even buy it because I'm doing the live radio show. But what are your thoughts here on Twitter? This has shown a lot of life as of late, especially yesterday. Twitter, TWTR.
I am long Twitter for
nice.
First time in a long time by actually being long calls. And I also sold credit put spreads to finance those calls because technically I saw something I like. Higher lows knocking on neckline after neckline after neckline. And there's another one above 2250. So if it gets over 2250, it could rip to 26 or maybe even 28 eventually. But not to say that it's going to get there, but my calls are green and I don't have a reason to exit. And my credit put spreads are also green. I could trim some of those off because they're money in pocket right now. I think the first tranche expires early in January, so I may test the waters with letting them die on the vine there. Maybe I'll close the longer ones so I don't suffer anything by market correction or anything if it comes like that into March. So technically looks pretty nice. If I'm long, I don't have a reason to get out of it right here. Not because the Twitter fundamentals are great, just because it's performing better than it has been as a stock, and people tend to like that, and they just continue it for a little bit.
What's your just Big T's asking? What's your parameters here on Twitter? Like, where do you, what strike did you buy, and where do you see this potentially going?
Let me see here.
You got to remember so many trades on over there.
Right. Well, I know I'm long, but I sold I made a calendar out of it. So I bought.
Set the trade up for us, if you don't mind, because this is really helpful.
I don't mind. Hold on, I'm almost there. Okay, so I chose March calls because I wanted time on the clock for me, and I chose the 24 calls. So obviously it was the 24 calls. So obviously it was a long bet with time on the clock. This way, I'm not sweating every downtick. I sold calls against them that expire this week. So those should die. And if they don't, I'm still profitable. I also sold some credit put spreads for January, and those gave me about a third of the cost of the calls.
What did you do on those to set up the credit put spread? Just because people like.
I sold 19, 18 and a half.
Okay.
So it was an easy money there.
Yeah.
I also sold some 16-15 longer dated ones that gave me another third. So I'm almost, at this point, I'll be free owning these calls if this week's expire, worthless. So I had faith in the calls, but I didn't want to shell the money out of my pocket. So I sold some risk against some support levels I saw in order to finance those calls.
Okay, I want to just give the couple lessons from this because Nick's such a great options trader. I love having him on there. And this is what I love about this, setups of these trades is first, you've given yourself some time on the clock. You didn't go out to the weeklies because, you've given yourself enough time to make something happen. You said something important. That way I don't have to sweat every downtick. Holds you in the trade. You got some time on your side. So I like that about the fact of buying the option. Second thing is I like the fact that you always limit your risk. So whenever he's rating a put, he's not rating it naked. He's rarely doing that. He's rating it and actually buying a lower one there to protect himself. So just in case, the black swan event happens, you're not going to be left, holding the bag, or if the market crashes or something like that, you're going to be okay because you've protected yourself in the event of, a big down move in the stock as well. So
that point is important because this is a trade and what I don't want it to turn into an investment where I own Twitter and I'm trying to manage out of it.
Yeah,
so,
and the difference is if you wanted it in your investment portfolio, didn't mind owning it, then you can write the naked put.
Yeah. So I chose a 50-cent closer to current price at the time because of that exact point right there. I didn't mind risking, on a 50-cent spread, the damage is very controllable because you collect X and the difference between that and 50 cents is the maximum risk. So I was okay with that. Yeah, so far so good. I mean, the calls are up 20-some percent, 20, almost 30%. I'm happy with that. Let's see where it goes.
All right, let's move on here to some stocks in the chat from Ed Parker, Nick. So get your charts ready. The first stock that he wants to look at is INFI, and I think that what is that? Is that Infinity Broadcasting?
Pharma.
Oh,
Pharma.
that's a little, yeah,
it's a little one.
A little one, Nick. Do you have much opinion on $2 stocks?
Whoa, it is wild. I don't know what it's doing this morning, but sometime before, what is that? A big spike in October, and it fell out of it, and it's trying to reprice that. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to take anything out of it. I mean, I'll post a chart for you, but something this violent, unless you know something about the company, I mean, it's in balance right now. Every spike seems to come back to about this level here. That's all I can say about it. But you'd have to know the stock and the reason why to buy it. But technically, it's in no man's land for me.
All right, one more for you. I think it's a biotech too. This one, an interesting chart. TGTX had to move up to $13. Found a home here just in over $7 at the 7.25 level. I guess technically speaking, I mean, if this thing can clear all these highs at 860, 880, got a chance of a breakout, but looks like you have a roof on this one for now. Any thoughts on TGTX?
This is a pivotal level. If you take, I think the only way to look at it, well, the better way to look at it is to go with a weekly chart. So you have a little more history and you'll see that this level, 8-ish, was resistance up until the 2014, say June, where the bulls prevailed there, and they defended it well until 2016 May. They fell well below it and then came back and recovered it, and here they are at it again. So it's a pivotal level. It's a big fight between bulls and bears. I don't think neither side will want to give it up without a fight. So I think this is biotech week. I don't know how it's tied to that week. So, again, biotechs are not my favorite to trade because they're open to headlines, and that's the enemy of
random ones.
Credit spreads.
Yeah, random headlines too.
Costco, Brad D in the chat's asking about Costco. It got Amazon, and it's come all the way back, making new all-time highs. While Nick pulls up the chart, I'll just tell you, trading range Hanover here from 185.50 to 188.90. That's over the last 4 trading sessions. So I'd look for that to be resolved. Nick, what do you have for Costco?
Whoops, I posted the wrong chart. Sorry.
You're fired.
Okay, so Costco, love the company. I love the stock. It's too high for me to enter here, especially with the headline. I think they report earnings here this week, right?
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So, short-term reaction to earnings is a complete coin flip. I've had that debate with several people, most recently with somebody in my chat room on Applied Materials, and they were touting, hey, I told you they're going to deliver good results. I said it has nothing to do with the reaction on the short term, and you can see what happened there. They crushed it, and they still fell. They rallied, and they fell. Okay, so in this case, I think I can find better entry points for Costco. But again, I do like the company. I think retail in general is overextended. I'm short retail via shorting the XRT, kind of a complicated trade. I bought a debit put spread for February, but I also sold one short term, knowing that people still love it for a little bit. But I think we believe too much in this online sales. I think a lot of this online sales increase is going to be cannibalization from foot traffic. So yeah, we're buying more online, but we're buying less in stores. So net, it's not going to be that great, or it's not going to be as great as, well, there's a chance of that, as great as everybody thinks. So Costco, I haven't seen an increased lines. I went and returned something this weekend. It was a 5-minute wait. I wanted to get a hold of somebody and ask them, how would you think that it's this year versus last year? I didn't see a couple of people I knew there. So I really don't want to chance money on a coin flip for the short term.
Last one for you here. MCB, Metro Bank Holding Corp, a new IPO. What a great time for a bank to IPO here. Amazing rally here. Michelle K., I wish you'd share this one with us earlier. Nice top at 48.87, clearing a double top from yesterday. I mean, this thing is running. I mean, it doesn't trade a whole lot of volume, Michelle K. I guess wait for it to, the highest low of the move has been 47.52. I'd like kind of use that as a stop out point. Can you give us any technical thoughts on this one? It's kind of hard. Chart's been straight up.
Michelle's a friend of mine, so if she says it's good, bye.
She's a friend. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. No comments then. Nick Chahine, he's the author of Create Income with Option Spreads, joins the show every Tuesday at 8:35 and gives us the fundamental and technical outlooks on the markets. Nick, continue to be safe out there. We'll tune in with you next Tuesday.
Thank you. Can't wait.
All right, we just ripped some charts off there. Dennis,
nice fast.
Yeah,
it's the power of 15 minutes always with Nick. So we'll bring Nick on for a full show one of these times too, like we did with Sean Udall, because Nick's great.
Yep, he is. All right, so what are we looking at now in the markets here? I'm looking at some more snow outside, but S&P futures hanging in here near the highs of the session. 2666.00 up $1.50. Any changes in imbalances?
You know what? The imbalances really haven't changed much, but I can see trends here in the pre-market right now.
What do you see?
I've got, what I have on my screen is I've got it all broken up by sectors and individual stocks. And I see I have the financials over in the corner of my screen. And I see that all lighting up green. So your banks are looking strong. Not coincidentally, FOMC is meeting tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if they show strength, today and tomorrow ahead of that meeting here. And it's starting early here in the pre-market. So if you can buy one of those banks early, I think you might be happy that you did it. So depending on, how high they open, obviously they open too high. I don't like to chase them. But, also seeing oil very strong here this morning. Oil stocks are all trading up. That's going to be a theme here for today as well. And it's all about rotation. So when you're seeing the banks up and you're seeing oil up, and I'm seeing some of these value names trade up a little bit here as well, even a couple, retailers I noticed were trading higher here, then you start to think, okay, where's the money coming from? I think it's going to come out of tech here today. I do think, I see Alibaba here in the pre-market. That's a tell. Alibaba's down $1.50. This market likes, Baba's come a long ways back from its lows as well, but showing some weakness here this morning. Square trading a little bit higher, but I'd be cautious there because I feel like money could be coming out of it. The Qs are actually in the red here this morning. So despite, a little bit of strength in the SPY, you can clearly see the rotation happening, at least in the pre-market right now, where they're rotating and maybe into a little more of the value trade again. So I'd be very cautious with the tech stocks here this morning. So that's the themes that I see developing here early. I mean, it is still early. Things can change. Things can change very quickly. But if I'm just looking at pre-market action, it's telling me a little more value trade here today, a little out of the growth.
All right. Let's. I just want to talk oil here for a second because
Sure.
we are trading up 43 cents, and just talking about different. Like, okay, well, we're coming out of tech, we're buying value, oil stocks. We really haven't been on the radar that much, but making a nice move up today. We're trading just off the high of the session in 58.56. But really, what catches my eye here on the oil chart is call it a triple top here. You had three highs, and those highs were at 58.99. One day you stuck into the 59 handle at 59.05. And then is it just two tops in that area? Another one at 58.88. So we've stopped short of there. So 59, that's a huge level breakout. I mean, a lot of people are maybe hoping to see 60. What a nice round number. And who would have thunk what do we go down to? I mean, it changes with the rolling contracts here, but almost will be 2 years ago in January.
26 or 27 bucks.
26.05. Bump up, long consolidation, traded at 40 to 55 range for over a year, and then we broke out. And now, as you can see on the longer term chart, $60, a huge psychological level as well in crude oil.
This is something that I've been adding to my portfolio here in the last year. I know I was underweight. Pullbacks, we've consolidated, we're starting to show some life. I've been adding some oil exposure here as of late. Also because I'm Canadian, I like having the Canadian stocks, and there's a lot of good Canadian energy stocks there, and a lot of them have been dirt cheap in the last year. So I've been slowly adding on pullbacks, to my exposure, through some different Canadian stocks. A lot of my exposure is through Suncor, through Canadian Natural Resources, which is SUNCNQ. But I think these things, I think if oil starts, showing some life here again, these things are going to show life as well. So I'm just banking that, the oil trade might come back in a favor here. A lot of consolidation, like you said, for a long time here. I don't mind the chart of oil here right now. So, and I'm putting a little bit of money into it.
Let's take a look at a couple stocks that were moving here at the beginning of the show. One of them was Overstock.com. Was getting a big pop.
Still is
moving here.
These things. Okay. So, and somebody who's just in the chat gave a nice little list there of these Bitcoin stocks there, and I'll just go over them. I can just go grab that person in the chat. They were actually asking Nick, but it was a nice list. I actually just wrote them all down too. So, Yoann Smith saying Riot, OSTK, Mara, MARA. We got DPW. And XNET, all these things strong here again today. Mara a little bit lagging because of the offering, but actually holding up quite well considering the offering was way down at $5. So RIOT up another 12% here this morning. Unbelievable move. I thought it was maybe done. Like once you had the big move and then he came all the way back down. I looked at it pausing, but I never did buy. And I guess, the breakout there yesterday, and it's just off into orbit here again. Long term, these things are still scary for me. Obviously it's a Bitcoin, but that's what's hot right now. So we'll use the Nick Chahine as his show here today. He was on here today. I'm going to say too high to chase, too hot to short. OSTK is another one. Same story, huge short interest. Thing looks like it's going to challenge its highs here, maybe, even as early as today. I mean, it's way up at $65, but this thing's just nuts. Went up $11 yesterday. So it can easily blow through 60, 62, 63 in a hurry. That being said, these things are wild and they can turn in a hurry too. And these kind of stocks are not my cup of tea. I feel like these are more, if you can get the momentum, you get on the right side, that can be great. But if you're on the wrong side, you can get hurt too. I have difficulty controlling the risk in these types of stocks because I like more boring stocks. I'm doing this as a business. This isn't a hobby for me. It's how I make my living. And there's a lot of risk involved in trading these things. And that's why I don't trade them as much personally. But I'll tell you right now, all these things are hot.
All right, one stock I just want to close out the show with, and Dennis, and I'm just trying to get the actual price on it. But one stock, it was a hot stock. It went down. We've had some great debates on the show on it. But would you have thought that VRX would be back in the yeah, look at that move here. And just over the last
laggard trade.
The laggard, there you go.
Fantastic example of what November was. It was the laggard month, and it didn't matter if you even don't have much value like VRX. They were buying the laggards. VRX was the biggest laggard of them all, and they bought it. It doubled basically in November because you can take it from the lows of 1094 up to over 20 and a half now. So basically in the last 6 weeks, the stock has doubled. It's been an incredible mover, and there's going to be a lot of underneath demand now on pullbacks here. They did lighten up the debt. We talked about it a few times on the show. I actually had it once, and I was paying from the long, actually a couple times. I played from the long side a couple times. It shook me out once, and I made some money the second time on it, but I missed the bulk of this move. And you're going to miss trades, and you just got to move on from them here. But again, this thing is up so much now. Now, if you were to pull back, then maybe you get interested here. But it's so hard to chase these things. All those people who are chasing stocks have been rewarded as of late.
All right, and let's wrap things up here. S&P futures at the highs of the session up 275, 67 and a quarter. Pre-market highs 68 even. I'll just say 2,700. That's my target for maybe the end of the week.
Any update on imbalances, Dennis?
No, they're just small here today, Spence. Okay. GE 184,000 to buy. That grown a little bit there. HPQ, it's ex-dividend here today. It's got 106,000 to sell, but they're pretty small. Definitely not the driver here today. But again, I'll just go over those themes I've reiterated a couple times in the show. I'm seeing banks strong here in the pre-market. They're starting to catch a bid. There's definitely some separation happening here now. And a lot of times, this is what I look for. When I start my trading day, and I start at, sometimes it starts early as 4 a.m., but, most days I'm starting at 7 a.m. I try to look for themes. A lot of times at 7 a.m., there's not that many people, and you're not seeing themes develop yet. But as we go through, even as the radio show goes through, you start to see themes develop. Those themes often follow suit during the regular session. So if you can catch those themes early, maybe catch a good print on the open, you buy something, if you like a sector, maybe you can pick up a stock or two in that sector long. If you don't like a sector, maybe you can short a couple of stocks in that sector, off the opening prints, and those can sometimes work as well. The theme I am seeing here today is banks are showing some life, which is not coincidental that the FOMC is meeting tomorrow. And I'm seeing, oil obviously showing life because oil's trading up. And I'm seeing tech a little bit weak. So it's not that the tech isn't really standing out here yet, but I've already got it in the back of my head. The money's got to come from somewhere. Banks are going to go up, and we're going to have a little bit of value trade. I even see like an IBM trading. An IBM trade's more like a value trade than it does like a tech stock. Johnson Johnson trading higher here this morning. Abbott Labs catching an upgrade. It's trading higher here this morning. There's definitely some themes developing here. Money's got to come from somewhere there. I think it comes out of the tech stocks potentially today.
Money's got to come from somewhere. Great way to wrap up today's show, Dennis. So that is it for us today. If you want to catch any part of our show again, you can do so on our podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher, or go to youtube.com/BenzingaTV to catch all of our archives there. Thank you to our guest, Nick Chahine. Thanks to all those who joined us in our chat at premarket.benzinga.com. Thanks to those of you who listened on the YouTube as well. On the docket for tomorrow's show, Jonathan Corpina. It's been a while since we spoke to him. Meridian Equity Partners. He joins us from the floor of the NYSE whenever we chat. So looking forward to having Jonathan Corpina on tomorrow's show. But that's it for our show today. So have a good rest of your day, everybody. We'll be back with you on Wednesday.